Yes, good evening, students. Welcome to the next session of capital budgeting. Along with, we'll start the next topic, that is leverage analysis. Today, first of all, we'll start with the two questions which were the part of your homework in the last class. So that we'll discuss because most of you couldn't able to solve that question now. And the next, we'll start our leverage analysis introduction part in today's class. Okay. So let's start with these particular questions. First of all, you can see that on my screen right now, the questions are already there. Okay. That is payback period. We need to calculate DPBP, NPV, ARR, PI, and IRR. So first of all, with the given information, we will start the question with payback period calculation. You can see this question right now. The total outflow is given to you is 3 lakh rupees. The expected annual income after debt but before tax is given to you. So what is given to you exactly? Yes?
PBT.
It is PBT. Okay? Profit before tax. It is given to you. Fine? Anji. Is it profit before tax is given to you? Fine? Now, we'll actually start this particular question. So the first half is always for years. You can see that. Second part, it is given to you, that is PBT in this question. Okay. Now, what exactly we will do in this question? First of all, the amount will mention directly. How many years we have in this question? 5 years. First of all. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. PBT is given to you, which is 90,000. Then 80,000. 70,000.
60, 50.
50,000. Okay. First of all, we will start with this particular part, that is minus taxation. Okay. So what is your tax amount?
20%, 18,000.
It is 20 given in the question. What is tax? 50% it is. Okay. 50%. So 45,000, 40,000, 35,000, 50% of each and every amount we are calculating right now. 30,000 and 25,000. So what you will get now? PAT, profit after tax. So that would be same amount, 45,000, 40,000. Then we have 35,000, 35,000, 30,000, and 25,000. Yeah. Now the next part we have, that is
depreciation.
Yeah, depreciation. 1 minute. Okay. Fine. The next column would be for depreciation. What is depreciation? 20%, I think. So 20% of original cost.
60,000.
20% of the original cost. What was the original cost? 3 lakh. Okay.
3 lakh.
So 3 lakh ka 20%. 60?
60.
Okay. So it would be similar, I think so, for all the values. I think it's going to tag it out. 60,000, 60,000, 60,000, and 60,000. Clear? Now the next one you will get, once you add depreciation, what will be the amount? Sorry, what will the calculation? That is cash inflows. Okay. So that is CI. So 45 plus
1,05,000, 1,95,000, 90,000.
1,05,000, 1,95,000, 90, and 85. Clear? Fine. Now, next one is PVF fact. PVF. I think we can calculate that. No. Yeah, we will do one thing. We can calculate everything first of all, and then we will go for all the calculations which we need to go for. Okay. I'll give time to write down, student. Okay. So just kindly focus on the screen right now, how we are calculating the question. Okay. Now PVF is 10%, which is 0.909, 0.826, 0.751, 0.683, and 0.621. Clear, everyone? That is your PVF factor. Now, the next one is we'll go for cumulative. Okay. Now, first of all, I think we made a mistake over here that we need to add column after. Okay. We need to calculate CCI over here, cumulative cash inflow over here. Okay. That is 105,000,000. Then it is 205,000,000. Then it would be this plus this. That is 3 lakh. That is 3 lakh and remaining 3,90,000 and 4,75,000. Clear, everyone? Okay. CCI. Okay. Now we go for next calculation, which is called your cumulative of discounted cash inflow, DCI. Okay. So this is CI, this is PVF. So first of all, this column into this column. You will get this amount, and rest you can copy it. So you will get all this amount of DCI. Okay. Next one, it would be cumulative of TCI. TDCI. Okay. Cumulative of discounted cash inflow. So that would be, and now this is this value plus this value. You will get these values over here and just drag it down. You will get the answer of cumulatives of discounted cash inflow. Okay. Now, first of all, you do one thing, just copy till this particular slide. Okay. Yes, I think is this clear calculation part till this point? Yes, Surin. Is this part clear, everyone?
Sir, CCI, what?
It is cumulative cash inflows. It is cumulative cash inflow. Yes. And then that is your, and why it is CCI, that is for normal one, for DPVP, for PVP only we'll calculate that. Okay.
Okay.
So I think the screen would be quite, it won't be that much huge actually. So you need to copy these values only. I hope so now you understood how exactly we have to solve these questions. These calculations are very, very important actually. Yes, everyone, please kindly copy till this point. Then I'll discuss each and every point one by one about ARR, DPVP, PVP, NPV, IRR, PI for this particular question only. Yes, Dan, till this point, please. Any doubt to anyone? Haji, any doubt to anyone, please, till this point? First of all, we'll go for calculation of your PVP, normal PVP. Haji. Yes, students, done? Everyone? Yes, student, note down this part, please. Kindly confirm. Yes, students, please kindly confirm. Is it done, please? Till CDCI calculation? Haji, students, please kindly confirm. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, after that, we will calculate first of all, that is PBP, normal payback period. Okay. And what is the formula for payback period, first of all? PBP calculation. That is complete year plus required cash inflow divided by next year's cash inflow. Okay. So, first of all, when we talk about the PBP calculation, that will be done from CCI only. How much we need to recover? 3 lakh. And 3 lakh will be recovered in third year. So you can see that PBP is 3 years. I hope it is very simple. PBP is 3 years. Everyone. Now DPBP. What is DPBP? That is again same formula, but we need to calculate from DCI calculation, CDCI. Okay. You can see that up to 3 years, we have recovered 249,390. 249,390. We will apply the formula now. That is complete year, which is 3 plus required cash inflow. That is 3 lakhs minus 249,390. So 249,390 divided by next year's cash inflow. So next year's is from DCI only. Okay. That is 61470. 61470. Okay. So 61470. Calculate please and tell me the answer. It is 0.82. So 3.82 years.
3.82.
Correct. So I think it is 9.8 months. If you convert in the year, it would be 3.82 years. Okay. So 3.82 years as well. That should be the correct answer as well in this case. Clear, Gunjan, I think? Gunjan, clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah. Now we'll go for ARR calculation. Okay. What is ARR?
ARR is average
Average
PAT upon
PAT
average
upon
investment.
investment into 100. Sorry,
Into
yes,
100.
into 100. Okay. So first of all, average PAT we need to calculate. So total PAT is 175 divided by 5. Okay. So average PAT is 175 divided by 5. Divided by total
35.
investment. Average investment, sorry.
35%.
So ये आंसर आया आपका ARR?
हाँ, ARR तो है.
Okay. So let me complete, I think, till the time. Then it would be cost minus scrap value divided by 2. Isn't scrap value given in the question? No? No.
No.
No working capital as well. So it is 3 lakh divided by 2. That is 1.5 lakh. Okay? So 3 lakh divided by 2 into 100. What is the answer? It should be 23.33%. Correct? Everyone?
Yes, 23.33%.
23.33%. Okay. Next one is NPV, I think. Yeah, we are done with this 2 and 3. NPV now. NPV is very simple actually. Because whatever discounted cash flow we have, just go for total. Sum of all these values. That is 3,63,645. Okay. So NPV is equals to 363,645. 363,645 minus 3 lakh. So that would be rupees 63,645. Correct, I think? Yeah, 6645. Clear? Same you can go for PI calculation as well. Profitability index. That would be your inflow upon outflow. Okay. So 363,645 upon 3 lakh. निकाली कितना रहे? 363.
1.21.
Okay, 1.21, and that is also correct answer. 1.21. Okay, 1.21, and the last left is IRR. Now for IRR, we need to go for further calculation. Okay, you can see that I told you what is IRR. Basically, one NP we want positive. So one NP positive is 63645. Next, we need to make negative now. So what we will do, we'll calculate the cash inflow. Okay, cash inflow at 20% now. Okay, so first of all, you have to go for PVF at 20% because we need to make one NPV negative. Okay, tell me the values, please, and please calculate NPV at 20% first of all. I'm waiting for your answers. Yes, everyone. And then we need to go for DCI at 20%. Okay, this is your DCI at 10%. Haji, please give me the answer of total cash inflow of DCI at 20%. I'm waiting for your answer.
Sir, 19089.
Ma'am, I don't know the answer actually. If you can tell me the PVF of 20% first of all. 0.833, I think, first one. Then 0.694. Then 0.579, round off. Then 0.482. And the last one is 0.402. Okay. And now we'll multiply this cash inflow. No. Yeah, this cash inflow with this PVF. And we'll just go for all the calculation. Okay, now we'll go for total of this, sum of all these values, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see that it is 289,420, means your NPV is negative now. Okay, so first of all, this is your NPV at 10%. Okay, now we'll go for NPV at 20%, and that would be your 289,420 minus 3 lakh. So कितना आ रहा है बताइए? That would be
10,580.
10,580. Now, as you can see that for calculation of IRR, we need one NPV positive and one NPV negative. What is lower rate? 10. NPV at lower rate? 63645. Divide by difference in NPV. Okay, so that would be 63645 minus of minus 10,580. Okay, into difference in rate, that is 10. Clear? Tell me the answer now, please. It should be 18.56%. Is it clear, please, everyone?
Sir, how to calculate it?
Ma'am, it is like simple. 63645. Okay. 63645.
Yeah.
First of all, we need to add the denominator. That is 63645 plus 10580. That would be 74225. Okay. So 63625 divided by 74225 into 10. That is 8.57. Correct. So it is 8.57 and this is 10. 18.56. 56 or 57, whatever it is. 57 it is. First of all, calculate denominator and then go for other calculation. Is it clear, please, everyone? Yes, have you noted down this answer?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Have you
clear.
noted down as well?
Yes, noted.
Okay. So shall we move to the last question then? This question?
No, start next topic. I can understand it.
Yes. Anyone else want to discuss this question now? Because there are two projects in this case, A and B, and for A and B, we need to calculate everything now. Yes, students, please kindly confirm. Shall we discuss this question as well? The second question, which were two machineries, A and B. Hanji. Because after that, we won't be able to discuss this topic because we are done with this unit now. Okay. If you want, we can discuss one more question. If not, then we can start the next topic now. Yes, friend, please post in chat box. What shall we do? Hanji.
Sir, can go to the next topic, sir.
Okay, we can go to the next topic. Thank you so much. So the next topic we have to start now, that is called leverage analysis. Okay. Now, first of all, we need to understand the meaning of leverage and what the utility of this leverage analysis into financial management systems. Okay. First of all, we need to understand what is the meaning of leverages. Okay. Leverage in a simple language, if we can understand, that is called the burden on the company. Okay. Burden of which type? burden in terms of company's operating expenses, along with that company's financial expenses. Okay. So always remember, when we discuss about the leverage analysis, in order to operate a company or in order to acquire the capital from the market, they always need to go for two types of basic burden. That is about the burden associated with company's financial, you could say, obligation, that is called your financial leverage, and the burden associated with the operating expenses, that is called the operating leverage. Okay. So always remember, the company always needs to maintain their burden as compared to their profitability, because the profitability is not up to the mark and you are having the excessive burden, definitely company will close it down near future. So the leverage analysis will always guide you that up to what extent the company can digest, company can actually bear the burden of financial, you could say, aspects as well as operating aspects of the company. Okay. Is it clear, please? What is basic meaning of this leverage analysis? What is leverage is all about?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you can see the last paragraph on my screen, the leverage and unlevered company. Okay. Now try to understand in terms of financial obligations first of all. Okay. Now, as you can see that, like for example, if I'm going to start my own company and I'm not taking any type of loan from the bank, even not from relatives, no borrowings at all. The whatever fund which I have invested into my business, it is basically my own fund. It is basically my own fund. Okay. So in this particular case, it is called unlevered company. Unlevered company means whenever you do not have any obligation to pay interest or to pay dividend to any internal or external user of the company, that is called the unlevered company, because company do not have any liability at all. Okay. That is called unlevered business. What is levered business? Levered means when the company is having of the mix of the capital. Mix of the capital means when the company has started their business, first of all, and they have basically took the loan from the market. Along with that, they have shareholders. In that case, the company having basically the combination of on capital and also borrowed capital. That is called the levered company. Okay. Now, the organization always need to keep in mind that they need to maintain the mix of this particular leverage. Like for example, I think we discussed initially when we're talking about the cost of capital, the company always need to keep in mind they can increase their equity capital. They can increase their equity capital by keeping in consideration that their profitability should be up to the mark so that you can actually pay the dividend and the interest obligation to your users. But if we talk about any organization and an organization is not earning well, their profitability is not even. Okay, in that case, company always have to choose for more of the on capital as compared to the borrowed capital. So the right mix of the debt and the equity will always be the part of your leverage analysis. Am I clear, please? What is the meaning of unlevered and levered company? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, can you tell me what is a liability once again?
See, in the last paragraph,
No, what is mean by liability?
liability means any obligation due to pay. For example, you want to purchase your own house, okay, and you took loan from the bank of 20 lakh and 5 lakh rupees you have given by your own. Okay, so definitely the 5 lakh definitely it's not liability for you. It's basically the investment which you did. But 20 lakh which you have the a loan from the bank, that 20 lakh would become your liability because you are liable to pay the principal along with interest amount for next tenure of the loan.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay, sir. Clear.
Yeah, sure. Now, the next part which we have about the leverage analysis, as I told you already, that in the case of leverage analysis, we need to keep in mind about the correct capital structure. We need to keep in mind about the correct capital structure. Okay. Now, The correct capital structure means the composition of your debt and equity. Okay, it means that we always need to understand about the correct proportion of your debt and equity. It means you can see the second paragraph, understanding why the current proportion of debt in capital structure lowers the cost of capital and increase the stock price hold attention. Okay, so always remember, when we talk about the higher debt, low equity, when the company having more burden in terms of interest payment. Okay, and when we have higher equity, less you could say debt, when the company do not have more debt burden when it comes to this particular category. Okay, you can see that an unlevered company having no external creditors because they are not at all borrowing from any external user of the company. But a levered company will always invite the investors to invest into the organization, and that will increase their liability, that will increase their obligation towards the interest payment, or we may say towards the dividend payment to their shareholders as well. Okay. Now, always remember, whatever condition we're discussing right now, whether we need to go for higher debt, higher equity, or combination of debt and equity, whatever it could be, the important thing is that the assessment of all such risk is called your business risk. Is called your business risk. Business risk in terms of, if the company generating good profit, definitely you may go for higher debt as well. But if it is not, the company may actually expose in terms of the risk proportion. Is it clear, please, everyone? The second slide of this introduction part. Hanji, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Now you can see that the discussion regarding levered company over here. What is levered company? I told you already. That levered company is basically all those companies, those who are having some external debt capital in terms of shares, in terms of debentures, or any other debt instrumentation. The important thing is that for a levered company, it is very important that the company must earn the sufficient amount of cash inflow so that they can meet all those liabilities which is being generated from the creditor side. But the consideration when it comes to financial risk in terms of whether the company is in a condition to pay the interest and the dividend obligation to the shareholder or not, it is one of the most important business risk category which the organization always faces throughout their lifetime. Okay, so that is the second part about what is levered company. Now, the basic structure, okay, how the company can actually, you could say, decide upon that what type of, you could say, strategy, or what type of, you could say, the balancing which they need to maintain when we talk about this financing option about levered and unlevered company. Okay, you can see that the moving away from entire equity to part equity. What is entire equity? When the owner is basically investing his own money, there is no borrowing from the outside world. Okay, or part debt. Financing will result in following fruitful journey for the shareholders. The first one, the corporate debt increases, financial risk increases. What does it mean actually? Can any one of you tell me? We have discussed already about this. Corporate debt increases, financial risk increases. Haji, anyone?
Sir, corporate means the company which we are running or that the customer company.
No, we are whatever we are discussing right now, it is from the perspective of an organization only. So like how the organization thinks upon actually.
Within the organization, right, sir? Within the organization, that outside organization, within the organization or outside the organization, like
outside,
purchasing it
outside organization, because it is all about, yes, it is all about basically the corporate debts.
Okay. So if the company is taking a financial loan from the outside.
Yes, definitely. So in that case, definitely financial risk increases. And what is financial risk? Is a risk associated with, you could say, fixed obligation to pay the interest and to pay the dividend to your shareholder. But in the first case, we're talking only about the debt securities or debt capital. Clear? Hanji, first one is clear?
Not clear. So can you tell it again?
Yeah, see, when we talk about the corporate debt increases, corporate debt means when you have the higher debt securities or higher debt capital when it's compared to the equity capital. So higher the debt will increase the obligation of interest payment, because whenever we are, you could say, increasing or inviting the debt capital, the company always actually liable to pay the interest whether the company is earning profit or not. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. So in such a cases, you need to keep in mind that corporate debt increases. It means that the company's debt is basically increasing, so that the financial risk will also increase, because company do have permanent obligation when it comes to their interest payments. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Clear.
Second point, total risk increases since financial risk is increasing. Definitely, what is total risk? That is financial risk and operating risk. I told you already. So as soon as the financial risk increasing, company's total risk is also increase in this particular case. Okay. Third part, if the equity decreases, or equity decrease means the number of shares of the company decreases, definitely the company, you could say, does not want much equity when it comes to their capital structure. So what they are doing, they are actually replacing their equity capital with the debt capital. Means whenever the company want to make certain changes in their capital structure when it comes to debt or equity, if the equity increases, definitely the company is moving towards the more of debt as compared to equity, or they want to change the proportion of equity and debt. Okay. And when we talk about the equity decreases, definitely we have limited number of equity shareholder. And whenever we have limited number of equity shareholder, their earning per share is always on the higher side. Okay, because fewer share exist, and the expected tax benefits of using debt contribute to EPS. Because whatever earning we have, definitely it will increase the chances of dividend declaration to your equity shareholder. Clear, everyone? Anji, these 4 points are clear, please, everyone.
So please explain the last one.
Yeah, last one is very simple. Like it's related to the third point only. If your equity stock decreases, it means that you have very few equity shareholder available in the company. And when we have the few equity shareholder, definitely chances of declaring the dividend is always on the higher side. So earning per share will definitely increase. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Clear, everyone? Anji. Yes, students. Clear, everyone? Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Uh, okay, so now I'll start, I think, with the operating leverage part. Okay. So what we are doing right now, we are taking a 5 minutes of break now, and we'll continue, because we have to discuss few more theory parts right now for this topic, because this particular topic is more about technical aspects. Okay. So we'll take a 5 minutes of break, and we'll start the class again at sharp 6 o'clock. Okay, everyone? Yes, students.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, friend, shall we start now?
Yeah. Start.
Yes, sir. Start.
Yes, sir. So now the next part which we have, that is about your operating and financial leverage. What is the meaning of this? And we'll discuss all this point one by one. Okay. Now, as I told you already, that the very crucial and very important, very tough decision for the company, that what type of balancing which they need to maintain. Either it should be equity, part equity, or part debt financing, or complete debt financing. That is, see, complete debt financing is not possible first of all. Okay, because owner always want to have certain control over decision making. So the capital structure decision making is always based on this, either entire equity, part equity, or part debt financing. It totally depends on what type of strategy which the company will opt when it's come to their outsourcing. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about whether the company need to increase debt or equity, it totally depends on their flow of income, or totally depends on what type of perspective is they have towards the shareholders' wealth, towards the company's, you could say, obligation, company's interest, and up to what extent the particular organization can digest the risk level in the organization. So, in this case, the first leverage which comes in the picture, that is called your operating leverage. Ms. Priyanka, please kindly mute yourself. Yes, students, I'll request everyone, please don't unmute unnecessarily, please, in between, okay? Now, the first leverage which comes in the picture is called your operating leverage, okay? Operating leverage is basically the type of leverage, and you can see that, which arises or which changes because of the level of output. Okay, you can see that. The operating leverage is the name given to the impact on operating income of a change in the level of output. For example, if you talk about, like, for example, the company is selling 800 units of any product in a year. Now, suddenly, if the company's sales has dropped down from 800 to 500, definitely their profit margin will drop down. So, whenever any type of, you could say, changes into their operating income because of the change in level of output, that will be called your operating leverages. And when it's come to financial leverages, it is totally depends on the mix of capital which we use in terms of debt and equity. Is it clear, please, everyone? Operating and financial leverage?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Now, we need to understand the relationship between these two parts first. Okay, what is operating and what is financial leverage? Okay, now when we talk about this operating leverage, these particular two terms are always interrelated. Okay, when we come to operating or when we come to financial leverages. Okay, now in this case, how these terms are basically associated with each other, that we need to understand. Okay, first of all, we always need to understand about this part about cost, output, sales, revenue, EBIT, earning per share, etc. Okay, because when we talk about the company's assessment, when it's come to their profitability, when it's come to their expenses, when it's come to their leverages, okay, each and everything will always come in the picture. Okay, now you can see this definition right now about leverages first. What do you mean by leverage? The leverage is basically percentage change in one variable with respect to change in some other variable. For example, change in the sales revenue or change in sales of the company will definitely affect the profitability of the organization. Change in the cost of the product will affect the profitability of the company. So this particular portion of leverages is nothing but how a particular dependent variable will respond with respect to change in the independent variable. Is it clear, please? What is the meaning of leverages? It is percentage change in one variable with respect to some other variable. Or we can say that how responsive is the dependent variable to the change in the independent variable. Change in the cost of the material will change in the profit of the company.
This is an example which we can quote over here. Change in the level of output of the company will definitely increase or decrease their operating incomes. Is this clear, everyone? Please kindly confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Now the formula which we need to discuss. Please kindly note on this formula right now. The formula for only simple leverage. Percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. Hanji. After this particular question formula, you can see, read the question first of all, please. It's very simple question. Please note on the formula first. Okay, shall we start, please? You can see that first of all. Just try to understand first and then you note it down, the question, okay? A firm increased its sales promotion expenses from 5 to 6,000. That is increase of 20%. Now, the sales promotion expense are dependent or independent? Is the sales promotion expense?
So it is dependent on the company. Depend on the company how will spend it.
Yeah, but actually, like once the company expand, actually totally independent in nature. Because whenever the company decide that up to what extent they need to go for promotional expenses or advertisement expenses, it is always independent in nature.
No, so it is right from corporate that how will.
Yes, ma'am. I understood your point. Actually, what I'm talking right now. It is totally depends on the company first of all and vary from company to company. That I understood actually. What my point is, like when the company, like, because if I talk about a small company, they can expend 1 lakh rupees. If I talk about mid-sized company, they can expend 5 lakh rupees. If they got a big corporate world, they can expend in 20 to 30 lakh rupees as well in expenses. Okay. The variable of promotion expenses is always vary in nature, always independent in nature. It depends on the capacity of the company that what type of sales promotion base they want to incur in order to increase the sales of the organization.
Like
Understood?
direct expenses, etc.
Yeah, it's an independent variable. Make sure always. Okay.
So, but sir, if it is independent variable, there will be always be risk.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Because it might not be promoted, the product might not be promoted.
Yes, ma'am. Completely understood actually. Okay.
Yes.
But that is altogether, ma'am, different. I think mathematics, different concepts.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
Yeah, because these expenses, I think, let me actually discuss that part as well. If this expenses does not holds good, if it is not productive for the company, that will increase the operating cost of the company and increase the operating leverages. Clear?
Sir.
Anji. Now you can see that the increase, the sales, once the company is increased, that sales promotion expenses from 5 to 20%, it will increase in the number of units sold as well, from 200 to 300. And this increase is basically of 50%, you can see that. Okay, so what is leverage now? What is leverage now? The leverage would be percentage change in dependent variable upon percentage change in independent variable. So that is 50% independent and 50% independent. So 0.5 upon 0.2, that is 2.5. So what does it mean actually? This means that percentage change in number of units sold is 2.5 times than the change in the sales promotion expenses. This is the interpretation of this particular leverage formula. Understood? Yes, students. Understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Please note it down fast. Then we can start the first topic, I think, the formula for, first after we'll discuss about the statement of calculation of different components. Yes, when once done, please let me know. We can start this next flow of statements.
Sir, start.
Yes, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So first of all, in order to solve the questions of leverages, first of all, we need to understand the flow statements. Okay, I think that we discuss also in the case of your capital budgeting as well. You can see that sales minus variable cost contribution, that we discussed already, minus fixed cost is PBDT, that is earning before interest and tax. Okay, then we subtract interest, you will get your profit before tax. You'll subtract taxes, you will take profit after tax. That is called EPS, earning per share. Okay, so similar statement you have, only difference is that we will consider interest calculation over here because we are discussing leverage analysis right now. Please note down fast. Sales minus variable cost country minus X cost EBIT minus interest PBT, and PBT minus tax is EPS.
Noted, sir.
Done, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, fine. Now we'll start the first topic about operating leverages. Okay, what do you mean operating leverages? First of all, that we'll discuss now. Now, as I told you, the operating leverages are always associated with the sales of the company. Okay, because as the sales increases, the profit will increase. As the sales decreases, the profit will decrease. So always remember, the operating leverage are always associated with the profitability of the company. Okay, and these profitability changes because of the change in the sales revenue of the organization. You can see that it measures the effect of change in sales revenue on the level of EBIT, that is earning before interest and tax. Okay, so as the sales revenue changes, company's profitability will increase, and the formula for calculation is percentage change in EBIT upon percentage change in sales, or contribution upon EBIT. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Noted on the formula as well. Understood what is operating leverage?
Yes, contribution upon EBIT.
Perfect. So I think I should start the first numerical of this operating leverage. Okay. So first question we'll solve right now. You can see that. Plus, please try to focus on the screen right now. I'll explain it first and then you can note it down. Okay. From the following stated data, determine degree of operating leverage. Which company has the greater amount of business risk? Okay. So what we have to calculate, we need to calculate about the operating risk or the business risk of the company. Okay. You can see that the sales is given to you for company A and B. Fixed cost is given to you for company A and B. Okay. Along with that, the variable expenses are 50% on sales and 25% of B as well. Okay. Now, first of all, we'll calculate this particular operating profit. How to do that? Sales minus VC, contribution, quantity minus FC, operating profit. Similarly for B as well. Now, operating leverage for A, quantity upon EBIT. Okay, that is earning before interest and tax, 2.5. For B as well, it is 3. So which company having higher risk? Which company having higher risk?
So B1.
B1, because you can see that the company's profit is only 7.5, but expenses are 2.5. Sorry, contributed profit is 22.25. Okay, but when it's come to this particular part, the company is having basically higher profit as compared to their contribution. As compared to their contribution. Okay, make sure this second part is 22,25,000, 20,50,000. Okay, it is 22,50,000. So once we compare the contribution with respect to profit, that should be visible over here. Okay, so it is 22,50,000. Okay, so the company B is having the higher risk of operating expenses. Haji, is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Because higher the leverage, higher the burden on the company. And there should be sufficient or a prominent amount of proportionate income which company must generate. Clear, everyone? Yes, please note down fast. Then we can discuss one more question.
So please explain how this contribution came. So I am not able to understand.
Quantity is sales minus variable cost. Sales is 25 lakh and variable cost is 50% of sales for company A. So 50% of 25 is 12.5. And similarly for B, it is 25% only. So 30 lakh, 25% is 7.5 lakh. So it would be 22.5 lakh. Clear? Yes, students, is it clear, everyone? Hanji, everyone, please. Is it clear, everyone? Note it down as well.
Yes, yeah. Yes, clear, noted.
Yeah, sure.
So, noting down.
Okay, fine. I'm waiting, no worries. Because again, this topic is very technical actually. So we will go a bit slow right now for this topic. Okay. Now make sure this topic will continue from next Monday, means upcoming Monday actually. That is on 15 Feb. Because Saturday you have only doubt clearing classes from previous lectures. So if you have any doubt, you can join. If not, then definitely we'll see you on Monday directly.
Start next question. No?
Yes, done, everyone? Note it down as well.
One minute, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, noted down.
Done?
Yes.
Yeah. Please go to this, not this question right now. We'll discuss from the next class. We'll take a basic question right now again. Yeah, that would be, I think, okay. Okay. You can see this question right now. At sales level of 1000 and 1400, the per unit cost is 10 rupees and variable cost 7 rupees, fixed cost 1000. We need to calculate DOL. Okay, please try it once. Don't do the answer right now, please. At 1000 stock level, sales level, sorry, and 1400 sales level, what will be the DOL of the company and how to interpret the result is very, very important over here. First of all, solve the DOL for both and then we'll discuss. Okay. Similarly with the same formula.
So there are two companies, sir. 1000 and so there are two companies.
Yes, ma'am. No, not two company, ma'am. At two different level of output, ma'am. It is 1000
Okay.
and 1400. We need to calculate
Okay.
which output will basically, you could say, giving the more prominent result when it's come to operating leverage of the company.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Yeah, sure. It should be 1.5 for 1000 and 1.31 for 1400.
Yeah, 1.5 and 1.31.
Everyone got the answer, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you can see that the company, at the 1000 level, the company having higher leverage. You can see that as soon as your sales level increases, your operating level will always decrease, because this increase in the sales stock level definitely will reduce the per unit cost burden on the company. Now, in such a case, definitely we can say that the profitability of the company will basically increase. First of all, you can see that from 2 to 3200, but proportionately it is increasing as well. So in such a cases, the operating leverage of the company will also reduce, because company having higher profit in order to meet all their expenses. Okay, one more important thing we need to focus on over here, that the fixed cost is similar right now. So there is no change in the fixed cost. Until and unless the fixed cost won't change, your operating leverage will actually based on the condition of profitability of the organization. Okay, I'll discuss this part because this particular topic is extremely technical. Okay, the later half, when we have the next class on Monday on this particular topic itself, I'll give you a few more in-depth analysis about how this particular leverage chapter will helping the company not to analyze different expenses, their sales, their earning per share. A lot of calculations are there actually in this. Okay. Is it clear, please, everyone?
Yes, it means leverage higher, then risk is already higher.
Definitely.
Leverage is low, then risk is low.
And that's the reason the company always want to reduce their burden. How the company can reduce the burden? By increasing the sales revenue. Like a very simple example, you started a company of restaurant and initially you have only 10 guests per day, for example. Slowly, gradually, your company is, you could say, more equated, more, you could say, available on different platforms. Your per day customer increase from 10 to 15, 15, 20, 20 to 30 and 100. So definitely your sales revenue will increase. It will definitely decrease your operating leverage.
Yes, yes,
Understood, I think?
yes.
Okay, fine. So that is enough for the day actually. We'll take doubts from the students now and then we'll wind up for the day. And make sure this topic I'll continue from Monday now. Okay, because tomorrow I won't be able to take the classes. And the Saturday we have a doubt clearing session. So if you have any doubt, you can come down. If not, then directly we'll meet on Monday. Clear, everyone? So
Tomorrow will be class late. Sir.
for doubts now. Yes, Mr. Satyan.
Sir, tomorrow will be class, right, sir?
No, tomorrow we won't have a class because I am not available in my city. So there would be some problem with the network connection. Okay. So that's why I'm just canceling the class for tomorrow only. But as of now, schedule is from Monday to Friday. We have regular classes and Saturday we have 1 hour of doubt clearing session.
Okay.
Okay. So the tomorrow's class, which we are canceling right now, that will be rescheduled in next Saturday. Make sure. Next Saturday. Along with doubt clearing sessions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
So, any query to anyone from this session, please?
No.
Everyone, please kindly confirm. Yes, students, any more query?